Hello, 70th graders. I'm your teacher, Muna Abu Saleh. Outcomes. Today, we're going to read an article and answer questions about the wonders of the ancient world, practice the past simple in different forms, and to pronounce the final ed in the past tense regular verbs. Before we start, let's play a game. You know that the past simple verbs are classified into regular verbs and irregular verbs. Here there are three regular verbs and three irregular verbs. Can you put each of them in the right basket? The verbs are talk, visit, see, write, walk, and read. Remember to pause the video whenever you want. Good luck. Now check your answers. The verbs visit, talk, and walk are regular verbs, while the verbs see, read, and write are irregular verbs. Well done. Let's start our lesson for today. The title of Module 4 is Wonders of the Ancient World. Now look at these photos. Do you know these places? Of course, you know Petra, which is considered recently as one of the seven wonders, while the Great Pyramids of Giza are one of the ancient wonders. Now, let's move to your pupil's book, The Wonders of the Ancient World, Exercise 3, page 48. Read this article and answer the following questions. Now listen and point. A long time ago, people liked to visit new and different places. Jordan was an important place with a rich history. It was a center for travelers from all around the world. Many people visited it, and the markets were very busy with buyers and sellers. People started to write about what they saw in their journeys across the land. They made a list to describe the best places in the world to visit. Anyone who wanted to see new and beautiful locations around the world visited the areas mentioned in the list. This is how the list of the seven wonders of the world was created. Now point to the verbs here, which are in the past simple tense. Now let's answer the following questions. Exercise 4, page 48. Question number 1. Why was Jordan an important place in ancient times? Jordan was an important place because it was a center for travelers from around the world. Question number 2. Why did many people in the past travel around the land? People travel around the land to visit new cities and marketplaces. Question number 3. How was the list of the seven wonders of the world created? And the answer is the list was created when travelers put together a list of places people must visit because of their beauty. Now we're going to talk about the past simple of the verbs to be. We use the past simple of the verbs to be to talk about past situations. Verbs to be in the past simple are classified into was for singular and were for plural. The affirmative form of was and were are the forms of the verbs to be in the past. Look at these sentences. Jordan was a center for travelers. The markets, the markets in ancient Jordan were very busy, and the garden was full of beautiful trees and plants. Here we use was for singular and were for plural. Now for the negative form, we use was or were plus not to form the negative. Look at these sentences. Petra wasn't a world wonder until recently, and pyramids weren't tombs for people, but for kings and queens. For the interrogative form, we put was or were before the subject to form the interrogative. Look at these examples. Was Petra one of the ancient world wonders? No, it wasn't. Were the cities in Jordan a center point for people to meet? Yes, they were. Remember that we may put an interrogative word at the beginning of the question. For example, where were you yesterday? I was at the market. Now we're going to talk about the past simple in different forms. Look at these two sentences. I traveled to Petra by car last week, and I bought a photo from the market yesterday. Look at the verbs here, traveled and bought. Of course, both of them are in the past simple form. But what's the difference between them? Verbs in the past are classified into regular verbs and irregular verbs. For regular verbs, we add ed at the end of the verb, while for irregular verbs, we have different form, so you have to memorize them by heart. The verb traveled here is a regular verb, while the verb bought is an irregular verb. In this lesson, we are going to talk about the past simple for regular verbs. Let's start with the affirmative form. We use the past simple to talk about past events. Look at the sentence. Archaeologists explored ancient locations many years ago. Here we put the subject plus the past simple verb plus the complement. Remember that we can use some keywords like yesterday, last, and ago to express past actions. Now, let's do this exercise. Look at the pictures and make sentences in the past. Look at the first picture. Can you make a sentence in the past about this girl? Okay. She walked to school yesterday. And for the next picture, what about this boy? What did he do? The boy planted a tree last week. Well done. Now, for the negative form, we use did plus not plus the base form of the verb to form the negative. Look at the sentence. Petra didn't lose its ancient glory. Here we put the subject plus didn't plus the base form of the verb. Now, can you complete the sentences with the correct form of the verbs? Look at the first picture. They tennis, they football. What did they play? Okay, they didn't play tennis. They played football. The first sentence is in the negative form, while the second sentence is in the affirmative form. What about the next picture? Look at these two boys. They a football match. They a cartoon. What did they watch? Okay, they didn't watch a football match. They watched a cartoon. Good job. Remember to pause the video whenever you want. And now for the interrogative form. We put did before the subject to form the interrogative. Questions in English are classified into WH questions and yes or no questions. For the WH questions, look at these two questions. Where did you live 5 years ago? And what time did you sleep yesterday? To form a question in the past simple, we need a WH word like where, who, what, how, which, when, or why, plus did, plus the subject, plus the base form of the verb. So we have a WH question. And now for yes or no questions, look at these two questions. Did people use wood to build their cities? Yes, they did. Did archaeologists build the pyramids? No, they didn't. To form yes or no questions, we need did plus the subject plus the base form of the verb. So we have yes or no questions. Now, let's do this simple exercise. Use these words to ask questions in the past simple. Look at the words here. People live in wonderful places. Can you form a question in the past? The answer is, did people live in wonderful places? Now for the next question, why you change your house? Why did you change your house? So the first question is yes or no question, and the second one is the WH question. Well done. Now we're going to talk about some pronunciation rules, the final ed in the past tense regular verbs. Now look at these three groups of verbs. Look at the first column. How is the ed pronounced in the first column? Lived, cleaned, and received. The ed sound is pronounced like id. Lived, cleaned, and received. Look at the second column. How is the ed pronounced in the second column? Like, helped, and fixed. The ed is pronounced like, liked, helped, and fixed. What about the third column? How is the ed pronounced in the third column? Voted, wanted, and expanded. Here the ed sound is pronounced like id, voted, wanted, and expanded. So why do we pronounce the ed sound in three different ways? You have to know that English sounds are classified into consonants or vowels. Here we are going to talk about consonants. Consonants are classified into voice or voiceless sounds. But what do we mean by voiced or voiceless sounds? Voice sounds mean that the vocal cord produces vibration in your throat. Put your finger and notice the vibration in your throat while you're pronouncing these consonants. D, v, r. Can you feel the vibration? While for voiceless sounds, there is no vibration here in your throat, so the sounds come from your mouth. Look at these examples. K, p, t. The sounds come from your mouth. Now look at this table. There are some pronunciation rules for the ed ending of regular verbs. For id sound, the past of regular verbs ending in voiced consonants like p, d, g, j, l, im, in, ing, or the, as in the word then, v, w, y, z, and all the vowels is pronounced d. For it sound, the past form of regular verbs ending in voiceless sounds like ch, k, p, s, sh, t, and as in thing is pronounced it. For it sound, the past form of regular verbs ending in t and it is pronounced id. Now, after you know these rules, listen to these verbs and put them under the correct sound. Here we have the three sounds, and here are the verbs. Now listen and put each of them under the correct sound. Discovered, constructed, used, walked, wanted, and helped. Now check your answers. Discovered, constructed, wanted, used, walked, and helped. Well done. Remember to pause the video whenever you want. Now go to your activity book and do exercises 2, 3, and 4, page 36. This is the end of our lesson for today. See you in the next lesson. Thank you for your good listening.